When I was 6 years old, I had this idea of what my life would look like by the time I was 30. So in my head, I was going to be married to a man named Kevin. I was going to have two kids, Bobby and Rebecca, a dog named Fred, live in the suburbs in a big house with a white picket fence. Fast forward to actually being 30 and not having any kids yet. Life doesn't always go the way you expect it to go, but that was okay. I had resigned myself to basically being everyone's favorite auntie. Bring me your kids, I'd spoil them, load them up with sugar, and then send them back home because nobody wants a crazy crying child, right? I was good with that. I had reconciled myself with that idea and I was happy. But, uh, God has other plans sometimes. When I was about 31, I met a guy. He was pretty hot. And we did those things that adults do. And I thought I was being very careful, but obviously not careful enough because the next day I took Plan B. But I thought, this is fine. I've got it covered. I'm taking Plan B. I'll be A-okay. But you know what they say, man plans, God laughs. I took Plan B, but apparently God said, no, honey, we've got Plan C in mind for you. Plan C being Plan Child. I was pregnant. Yep, me, the girl who had just decided not going to have any kids, going to be the favorite aunt, get them hopped up on sugar. I was now about to embark on having a child that would at some point be hopped up on sugar. Lucky me. I remember telling my boyfriend at the time that I was with child, and he kind of looked at me like a deer in headlights, which is to be expected when you've only been dating for 2 months. Don't judge me, judge yourself. It happens. But he asked me if I was sure, and I said, What do you mean? Am I sure? Yeah, yes. He said, well, how do you know you're pregnant? And because I am who I am, I responded some smart remark like, oh, I stuck my thumb up in the air and waited for the wind to tell me. I took a test. How do you think I know I was pregnant? To which he kind of, again, had the deer in headlights look and said, okay, cool. We'll be fine. Got up and left. Called me a couple hours later, very, very drunk, to assure me that we would in fact be fine, which is exactly how you want to go into your pregnancy journey, with the father of your unborn child calling you drunk and telling you everything's going to be just fine. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. But nonetheless, we were going to go on this journey. And how do I put it? It wasn't pretty. Let's just put it like that. You hear the stories about the women who get pregnant, and it's like they have the light from heaven shining down on them. They're all glowy and sparkly. Their hair is long and flowy and thick, and their nails grow, and it's just like they've been touched by God themselves, right? I didn't quite have that experience. More like my hair fell out in chunks. I was basically getting a chemical burn from the inside out, and I was covered in spots. So essentially, while other people look like they were basically the Virgin Mary, I kind of looked like a cheetah covered in mange. It happens. That was how my pregnancy started out. But nonetheless, I was excited. I was really, really excited to be a mom. I had all these ideas about what kind of mom I would be. And in my head, I was going to be like Clara Huxtable, working professional mom, and then, have all the neighborhood kids at my house for snacks and cupcakes and lemonade. Turns out I'm a horrible baker. That was never going to happen. What did happen, though, is I got to week 36, and like every other mom who's pregnant, by week 36, you're ready to have this baby out of you. It's kicking you, it's giving you heartburn, it's making your hair fall out. If you're me, you're done with it. You're looking at the doctor like, take this alien child out of me, I am done. And so by 38 weeks, my doctor was like, okay, stop asking me to take the baby, we're taking the baby. So 38 weeks comes along, and I am so excited because the day is here. And I'm finally going to meet this amazing child I've been waiting for. And they pull her out of me and they show her to me. And this is where, I need to pause. I do need to pause here because I want you all to take a really, really good look at me. This is my face. This is my face. I am very, very brown. Okay? My daughter's father, also very, very brown. So you can imagine my surprise when they show me this very, very white baby that had just emerged from my very, very brown body. I was kind of in shock. And the first thing I said when I saw this child, I looked at my doctor and I said, "Why is she white?" Probably not the first thing your child should hear as it enters the world. That probably explains a bit about our relationship today. I don't know. But yeah, that was the first thing my daughter heard when she was born. The second thing, probably also not the most ideal thing for your child to hear, was me turning to her very brown father and saying, "I promise you I did not cheat on you. I did not sleep with a white guy while I was pregnant." Probably too much information for your newborn, probably all the nurses and doctors in the room. But my brain could not compute that there was a white baby coming out of my very brown body. The other thing my brain could not compute was the fact that I was now a parent. I had a child and I was a mother. And I knew that I was supposed to be very excited and very happy and filled with joy because you see that in the commercials. You see them pull the baby out of the mom and put her on her stomach, and she's just crying and sobbing and about how beautiful and how in love she is with this baby. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that feeling at all. I remember trying to will myself to cry, telling myself, "Cry, cry. You're supposed to feel something. You're supposed to do something here. You need to cry." And it wasn't happening. And I made myself think sad thoughts so that I could actually show some sort of emotion outwardly so that it would seem like I was really happy about this moment that I'd been waiting so long for. But the reality of the situation is I wasn't happy and I wasn't sad. I was just a little confused and a little lost. And that feeling really didn't go away. We took her home. Excuse me. Sorry, I have a dog that's about to go bananas. We took her home, and I was so scared to hold her. I kept having these visions in my head that if I carried her over the tile floor, that I would drop her and she would shatter into a million different pieces and there would be blood everywhere. Or that if I bathed her, that I would inadvertently drown her and I wouldn't be sure if it was on purpose or on accident. Because I couldn't connect. I didn't feel it. The feelings of new motherhood and love and joy that I was supposed to have were not there. And so I didn't hold my newborn, and I didn't carry her many places. What I did do a lot of was shuffling up and down the hallway in the sexiest blue terry cloth robe that Walmart had to offer. And would shuffle from the living room to the kitchen every morning and sit at the table and cry for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. I would just stare out the window and cry. And I went for my checkup with my doctor when my daughter was about 2 weeks old, and I had to do the questionnaire that they give you to test where your hormones are, what your mental state is like, and the highest you can score on that is a 30. And I think I scored a 25. And that meant that I was in full-blown postpartum depression. And my doctor asked me if I wanted to see a therapist, and I said no. And she asked me if I wanted to take some medicine, and I said no. I wasn't interested in that because we don't do that. In the African American community, in the Latin community, we don't do therapy. We don't do medicine. We write it out, we pray it out, all of that, but we don't do medicine or therapy. And so I said no. And let me just say that if anyone watching this is suffering with depression or living with depression, I should say, don't do that. Don't write it out. Get the help that's offered to you, because my postpartum depression stole a good 2 months from my life. So there is that. But basically, I tried really hard to connect, but it just wasn't happening. And in my trying, I would try to read her bedtime stories. And I remember sitting in the lovely glider that we had and holding her and thinking I was doing a really great job because I was reading her Edgar Allan Poe, The Pit and the Pendulum, which for a writer, that's perfect because of rhythm and word flow and word choice. And I was trying to teach her at a very young age about how important those things are. But apparently, that's not good reading for newborns. Who knew? So Dad quickly put an end to bedtime stories with Mom. But my depression wasn't getting any better. But I still refused medicine and I still refused therapy. Until one day, I said, I got to come out of this. And I forced myself to give my daughter a bath. Terrified, holding her at arm's length the entire time I was walking her to the bathroom. Because, again, tile floor, and I didn't want to drop her. I didn't want her to shatter into a million pieces and there be blood all over the place. And I lined the entire bathtub and every pillow and every towel I could find so that if I did drop her, she wouldn't shatter. And when I put her in the bathtub, I held onto her with one arm, and whenever I wasn't washing her, I had my other hand on the bathtub wall because, again, I didn't know if I would accidentally drown her. But I didn't. We took a bath, and I carried her again at arm's length from the bathroom to the bed, and I laid her down. And I looked at her as she laid on my bed, and she looked up at me, and for the first time, my daughter smiled at me. And I don't know what it is about a baby's smile, but it was like the veil lifted, the fog was gone. And all of a sudden, like, I could see her, and this feeling just filled my entire body. And I just instantly fell in love with her. And her smile was kind of like her way of telling me, like, hey, Mom, it's okay. We did it. We did this. You're my mom, and we're okay. That was a time. And, I'm still her mom. 11 years later, she is Black now. She's brown. She's fully brown. I no longer have this little white baby. She's brown. And there are still tears because, hi, she's a preteen. That's going to happen. It comes with the territory. She's got the tears and I've got the wine. But you can probably hear her in the background here. I definitely can say that we have a lot more smiles now than we have tears. And it's all because I get to be her mom.